My grandparents live in a large Victorian-styled home on the outskirts of Portland, Oregon. The building was made in the late 1800s, so it has that classic old building look to it. Me and my family go down there occasionally from our home up near Bellingham, Washington, and in early September of that year, my family decided that they wanted to pay my grandparents a visit. I was excited to see my grandparents, but not so much to go to the house. Up until that point, nothing out of the ordinary had happened in that house. The only thing it did was creep me out, especially if I was alone. The first day we were there, nothing out of the ordinary happened. My grandparents and I did our annual game of Clue, a murder mystery board game. We enjoyed dinner, and that was basically it. But little did I know when I went to sleep that night that tomorrow would be anything but ordinary. When I got up the next day, I was excited because I was a die-hard Seahawks fan, and today was going to be their first game of the season. Outside, it was warm and muggy, so in my room, which was one of the two rooms on the third floor, I had the window open with the fan on to let all of the hot air out. Later that day, my dad came up to my room and said that he and everyone else was going to go on a walk. I acknowledged him by nodding, glued to the Seahawks game that was on my tablet screen. He then left and shut the door behind him. What happens next still terrifies me to this day. About 10 minutes later, I heard what I thought to be my mom yelling from downstairs. Somewhat annoyed, I stood up and turned the fan off next to the window to listen if my mom was actually calling me or if my mind was playing tricks on me. Then I heard it again. My mom was definitely calling my name. I opened the door, frustrated I was missing part of the game, and yelled an annoyed, "Yeah?" When there was no response, I yelled down from the third-floor stairs again, "Yeah!" Then my mom called back and said something like, "Want to show you this?" or something like that. I couldn't really make out what she was saying. Annoyed, but not wanting to ignore my mom, I hurried down the stairs onto the second floor. "Where are you?" I called, genuinely not knowing where she was. "Here," she said. It sounded like it was coming from the first floor, but something was off. "Here" voice sounded very muffled and weird. I played it off as me just being paranoid, so I walked down to the first floor, now getting a little scared. "Mom?" I said. No reply. I searched almost every room and no one was there. That only left one room, the basement. There was no way in heck I was going down there, though, so I started heading back towards the stairs when all of the sudden, the basement door swung open. I yelled, spinning around. No one was there. Then I heard footsteps walking down the basement stairs. Someone was definitely there. I then heard my mom say again, "Here," in that same weird, muffled voice. I got chills down my spine. Something definitely wasn't right. I turned and ran as fast as I could up the stairs and onto the second floor. I ran across the kitchen to the narrow staircase that lead up to the third floor. Then I stopped dead in my tracks, paralyzed with fear. At the top of the staircase was a shadow-like person without a face saying in my mother's voice, "Here." I screamed at the top of my lungs and practically threw myself down the stairs and out the front door. I then waited outside near the trees, glancing over my shoulder every 2 seconds before my family finally came back from their walk. When I told them what had happened, they didn't believe me at first. But seeing as I was crying and looking genuinely freaked out, they told me that they believed me. I don't know if they were telling the truth or they just wanted me to feel comforted, but either way, there was no way I was sleeping in that building. After about 10 minutes of reasoning with them, I decided I would be more comfortable if I slept with my parents that night. This incident still haunts me to this day. I rarely ever sleep in a room alone in that house anymore.